Now, a KXAN News in-depth report.
I mean, do I look like what they look like? No. So they employ people, and it's not a hard business to employ people.
He had good grades, a good family. So how did this all-American kid get in and out of a Mexican drug cartel? New at 6 o'clock, we are one-on-one with a drug cartel insider. KXAN Shannon Wolfson has tonight's special report.
Talk to me just a little bit about your growing up.
Normal childhood, involved in sports, athletics, activities, middle income, normal suburbia America. As plain and as regular as you could be.
So what drew you in?
Oh, the money and the lifestyle and the clout that goes with it. You walk in anywhere and you have the run of the place. They cater to your every need and whim. You're with who? Okay.
We'll call him Mark. He grew up in South Austin, normal suburbia, he calls it. Went to college, waited tables, and in his 20s, he ran drugs for one of the oldest, largest, most profitable drug cartels in Mexico. A dangerous occupation that earned him a huge salary.
About 40, 60 grand a month.
How old were you at that time?
22.
It's a lot of money for a 22-year-old.
A lot of money. It's a lot of money.
His story goes back decades to a childhood friend in South Austin whose family back in Mexico had connections to the Sinaloa cartel.
I got hooked up with a certain group and was able to buy narcotics from them, bring them back to the U.S., and earn a substantial profit off of that.
That's when Mark went from college student to drug smuggler.
They started loading me up and started bringing dope back across the border.
Tell me how the drugs get into this country through those checkpoints. How is that possible?
They have special compartments and stuff built for vehicles that will allow them to, hide or conceal certain quantities of product and move them.
Can you tell me any more detail about that?
I can't tell you more about that. I mean, you can configure any vehicle out there to do what you need it to do if you can fabricate. And just like they build a car, you can build it your way. There's also a technique they use in which they send a smaller load and intentionally get it hit. And while they're preoccupied, divert a larger shipment around that.
For his own safety, we agreed to conceal Mark's face, but investigators with the APD gang unit say information he has provided them has helped police better understand how cartels operate in Austin.
How does a Mexican drug cartel blend in Austin?
I mean, do I look like what they look like? No. So they employ people, and it's not a hard business to employ people.
In fact, at his most successful, Mark was the leader of a street team in Austin that could sell up to 20 kilos of cocaine in 2 weeks. The lure of the money and the life pulled Mark in, but eventually it led him to prison. And worse, he says he was abducted 3 times, twice by the Sinaloa cartel members and another time by Mexican federal agents looking to extort money from the cartel.
Were you tortured?
They held me for a couple days. I was tied to a chair in a barn and whipped repeatedly with wire cable, asking to get my connections on the phone with them for them, and refusing to do so. More punishment was doled out.
Did you think you would die in there?
Oh, I thought that was it for sure.
Eventually, Mark says the cartel paid a $100,000 ransom to free him. But it didn't come easy. He had to work that money off for the cartel, which put him under the microscope.
Once they get their hooks in you, believe it or not, they don't get loose, they only get tighter. The phone calls kept coming. The requests were getting larger. The demands were getting greater. And then to the point is you get that feeling that they're just never going to go away. Some things came to a head where I had to make basically a life-altering decision of what am I going to do. And I decided to walk away from that and try to help others out. So here we are.
Does the cartel let you just walk away?
No. Absolutely not.
How did it end in 2007?
It took a lot of money, basically to buy my way out, to create other avenues to replace the income that I'm going to be removing, and a lot of negotiation. It's not an easy thing to sit here and to talk about, and the only reason I am sitting here is to hopefully avoid someone else having to go through that. Because I can promise you, as soon as you walk across that border, you are in a different world. I'm not here to take people down. I'm here to educate, hopefully to keep somebody from making the same decisions that I made.
Well, if you're wondering where Mark is living now, he won't tell us, but he says he holds what most of us would consider a normal job and he has not had any affiliation with the cartel or sold illegal drugs since 2007.
Austin police tell us Mark's story confirms for them what they have known for a long time, that Mexican cartels are the primary suppliers of illegal drugs in Austin. Police believe that demand is so high partly because of all the colleges and universities here in Central Texas, and they fear it will only go up as Austin's population continues to rise.